Liberty basketball opens up conference play at Stetson, and Jill Bolton makes some history for Liberty field hockey.
Plus, the story of a Liberty student quickly rising in the sport of fishing, and we bring you the top plays from the month of December. All next on Flame Central.
We gotta fish.
With the holidays in the rearview mirror, it's time to lock in on hoops, and we do just that on this week's Flame Central. He's Rhett McGibbon. I'm Matt Warner. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Yeah, conference play beginning this week for both the Liberty men and women, and they'd had enough of the Virginia snow, Matt. They went down to sunny Florida.
Yeah, both teams playing at Stetson this week. Now, for the men, that hasn't been such a great experience the past couple of seasons. The Flames had lost 2 of their last 3 games at the Edmunds Center. It was the ASUN opener for both teams, and early on, looked like more trouble might be on the way for the Liberty Flames. Stetson jumping out to a 15-5 lead, but then Liberty would flip the switch. Flames would go on a 32-13 run to end the half and would take a 37-28 lead to the break. In the second half, Liberty not cooling off, a 22-10 run to begin the half pretty much put this one out of reach. It was a balanced scoring night across the board for LU. 5 players scored in double digits, with Shiloh Robinson and Darius McGee leading the way with 16 apiece. The Flames shoot 58% from the field as they cruise to a 75-59 win in their conference opener. Coach Richie McKay, a big fan of the way his offense executed in the victory.
You can see the evolution of our group. We're starting to take what the defense gives us a little bit better. And, you know, Darius is such a hard cover. You got to decide how you're going to play him. And then there's other guys that don't get the love or the attention or the notoriety that are good players. So I thought our guys did a good job of taking what was available.
Well, staying with hoops, the Lady Flames entered conference play fresh off their best start to a season since 1997. Now, LU would look to continue their hot start on the road against Stetson. Early and often in this game, the Flames would go to the post. Berkman would have 10 in the first quarter. However, the Hatters would find their footing at the end of the first and would lead 16-15. Second quarter, LU would start off hot, going on a 14-4 run, started by Jordan Bailey and finish off by a corner triple. From the finisher, Nana Lindstrom, Liberty would lead 29-20 before Stetson would answer again. Some timely shooting and a Liberty turnover would push Stetson to within 5 at the half. That's when Kennedy Williams would take over. Her block would lead to a 2-on-1. Williams with a finish, and check out the dish to Maya Berkman. The Flames would never look back in this game and take it by a score of 65-49. Berkman would end with 21 points, followed by Jordan Bailey with 14.
Yeah, Rhett, this women's team, how impressive have they been so far this season? A physical team. They feel like they're a little grittier than we've seen in years past.
Yeah, it's totally a gritty team. They are led by Dee Brown. This is a young lady that brings the intensity each and every game. She gets in there, gets physical. And then Jordan Bailey, redshirting last year. You don't know much about her. And then so many times this season, she brings in the secondary scoring that you need to be able to win in college basketball. And that's led them to 10 straight wins now. It's crazy.
A surprise maybe the way they played. For the men, not so much a surprise. They've been competitive all season long. Doing it differently this year. Darius McGee taking on a huge role, one of the best players maybe in the entire country. They look primed for another deep run in the ASUN tournament.
Yeah, and Shiloh Robinson really coming on strong.
He's the key to it all, certainly. All right, for more great Liberty basketball discussion, interviews with coaches and athletes, and just generally a good time, check out our Flame Central podcast. Rhett, Emily, and I, we release a new one every single Monday. You can find it on iTunes, Spotify, the usual places. Some have called this the most entertaining podcast on the internet. I won't say who, but some. Check out our Flame Central podcast today.
Well, turning our attention to field hockey, it was a spectacular year for the team and also their senior leader, Jill Bolton. And now the whole nation knows about it. Bolton has been named the 2021 National Field Hockey Coaches Association National Player of the Year. She becomes the first Liberty student athlete at the Division I level to be voted a National Player of the Year. Bolton was also awarded the 2022 Honda Sport Award for field hockey. Awarded for the past 46 years to the top female athlete in the 12 NCAA sanctioned sports, Jill becomes the first recipient of this award in Liberty athletics history.
Well, for Division I college athletes, the sport is like a full-time job. Then you factor in academics and all of that, and you can see why it's hard to make time for much outside of your college activities. But for Liberty lacrosse players Tori Banks and Alexa Evernham, they saw an opportunity to serve, to learn, to pour into others on the mission field. And it was an experience they'll never forget.
We got the opportunity to go with the biomed students and nursing students to Togo, Africa this summer for about 3 weeks.
So we went with ASUN. There were several pre-med students, a couple nursing students, and yeah, we volunteered at a northern hospital and a southern hospital, and we just got to witness what God's doing there and just get an idea of what missions looks like combined with medicine. I have been on a couple missions trips before, so I kind of had the mentality of like, been there, done that, like I've got way too much on my plate to add that on also at this stage in my life. And Tori walked downstairs one day, we're roommates, and she said, what if we went to Africa? And I was like, yeah, don't think so.
I had always wanted to travel, and I thought, oh, I'm playing lacrosse, like Division I lacrosse, I'll never have time for that. Between our practices, our traveling, all of our time commitments. And I saw the Togo trip and I thought, wow, this is my major and this is traveling, which I really want to do. So I went home and just started talking about it. I was like, I want to do this. And the more I talked about it, I got more and more excited, and I reached out to Alexa and I was like, this would be such a cool opportunity. We'll never get to do this again.
And she just kind of talked about it, kept talking about it, and I was like, okay, it does sound kind of cool. And as I kept thinking about it and realizing the opportunity there, I was like, you know what, I'll just apply. It doesn't mean I have to go, I'll apply. And then we both happened to get accepted, and a lot of people applied. It's open to biomedical students and nursing students, to anyone who's interested. So it was just kind of amazing that we both even got accepted, and then I got really excited about the trip.
Yeah, so we finished conference, got home, took finals, and then we flew over the Atlantic Ocean to Africa. So yeah, it was pretty much like 10 days after season ended, which is crazy.
The trip was structured over 3 weeks, so we would wake up, we'd shadow different providers, and we were able to watch surgeons and PAs and just different physicians, MDs, DOs, you name it. So we'd spend each morning doing that, and then the afternoon we did lots of service projects. And then in the evening we usually had time to spend with the missionaries, and that was something that I'm super thankful for, is just to really get to know the missionaries, to see what God's doing personally in their lives, and it gave me a really good understanding of what missions look like.
Partway through the second week, we had a VBS with the missionary kids. And right away, our team picked Alexa and I to be the captains of the two teams for the VBS. And little did they know, we were both so competitive. So I was the red team, Alexa was the blue team. It was so funny. The kids loved it because our team, they really got to see our competitive sports side.
We get out to the soccer field, and there's not much of a field. The kids are just straggling out there. It's hot. And me and Tori are like, all right guys, we're gonna run you through a warm-up. And we look at each other and we're like, this is our Division I lacrosse warm-up and we are doing it. And so we're telling them.
They're like, high knees.
High knees, or jog, jog, jog.
They loved it though. It was so fun.
Yeah, very bought in, and just tried to share the atmosphere of our lacrosse team here. I mean, the girls, when we walk into this locker room, we walk in with excitement and are there to really have each game be an opportunity to encourage each other and an opportunity to just have fun. And I think we were definitely able to carry that over with the missionary kids, and it was great to just see them have a blast with it. Seeing a culture that's so far different than our own, and seeing how God works in that type of environment, and seeing how God can use me, not only in that type of environment, but also how God can use me when I do go back home. And God really opened my eyes to how missions can be used, and I have no clue to what extent I'll be involved in missions, but it really put a burden on my heart just for people.
We knew going in, it's not about us. This trip is not for our gain, or so we can say we did it. We're there to serve, and it's an awesome opportunity that we can shadow these physicians. But there definitely were times where it was uncomfortable. The language barrier, the heat, new foods. I think coming into the lacrosse team, it's one of those things where you're showing up to work for others and for the team, and that's something that the trip was ultimately about as well. It's taking that off of you and your performance and looking at it from an angle of like, you're serving God by doing this, you're serving others by doing this, and it creates this freedom. And so I think coming into the season, one thing that I want to take away from my trip is that each day when we get here to practice, I want to be focused more on others, because that's what's most important, and that's how our team will get better together, is when everyone can do it for each other.
All right, thanks to Tyler Beatty for producing that piece, and great job by those girls being willing to go and serve. All right, if you're like me, you got a few gifts for Christmas, but we have 5 more for you right now.
Yeah, that's right. It's the top 5 plays from the month of December, starting off with, number 5. That's where we usually start. Yeah, Liberty women's basketball facing Lee College. Check out the nifty pass from Dee Brown to Maya Berkman. How she squeezes this through the wickets, I have no idea. And she is starting to get the assist mojo at a career high the other day with 6, and a great dish there by Dee Brown.
All right, play number 4. Have you ever wanted to fly, Rhett?
You know what, I have.
Joseph Vinzant nearly did against Boyce College. Rising up, the freshman throwing it down. He's had a few wow dunks this season. That's one of them. That young man he just threw it down on, he's got family and friends watching. Yeah, they were probably feeling for him right about then.
Heart hustle and then denial from Alyssa Iverson. DK Metcalf has nothing on AI. Checking that out. Fighting all the way back. She was actually the one that turned it over. We didn't show that. But yeah, check out the stuff. Right. Bodies falling on the floor, and the Hokies bench. Look at the hands going in the air. Great stuff from AI.
There's a lot of frustration on their bench in this game. All right, play number 2. This isn't a single play. Instead, it's recognizing the entire game that Darius McGee put together against Stanford back on December 23rd. McGee poured in an incredible 41 points against the Cardinal. That ties Matt Hildebrand for the most points scored in a game in Liberty's Division I era. An unbelievable effort from McGee, and one that's going to be hard to top, but if anybody can do it, he might just be that guy.
He might be. All right, the Lending Tree Bowl, Liberty football facing Eastern Michigan. Skylar Thomas blitzing and batting it up into the air. What a play. You can even hear the announcers in this game astonished. The pick 6 going 27 yards to the house. Great way for Thomas to finish his Liberty career and for the Flames to finish the season as Liberty cruises to a 56-20 win and winning their 3rd straight bowl game.
And top play of the month. He couldn't do that again if he tried. Everything had to be perfect to pull that off. All right, when we come back, we take to the water for one of Liberty University's best-kept secrets.
Plus a new year, a new edition of Warm, Hot, and Fuego. That's when Flame Central returns.
My company and I first learned about Liberty University through an intern, and after her internship, we hired her as a video editor. And since then, we have hosted several Liberty University students as interns. They're awesome, very professional, very team-oriented, very confident. They're able to work well within a team, but also individually.
I've been very pleased with just the caliber of students that we've been able to hire from Liberty, and it's really our go-to place when we're beginning to look for young women that can be our voice on Capitol Hill, can work on deep policy, important issues. It's been a great experience to work with Liberty.
My impression with working with Liberty students is that they are driven, that they want to be involved in the community, and above all, that they have great values, and they live by those values.
At Teen Tryon right now, we have about 8 Liberty grads working there, and every single one of them has always been very positive, very willing to work, motivated, and they just love what they're doing. You know, they find peace at where they're at, and it seems like they really enjoy learning and growing in their career. Liberty does an amazing job of training you to use your faith and then also convert that into being a business person and working in the real world.
The one thing that we've seen at Family Research Council with the Liberty interns is that they are prepared when they leave this university to go and change the world. When we talk about being champions for Christ, it's something that they really take with them. That mission still today is bearing fruit in Washington, D.C. for us, in New York City, Hollywood, and many other places. I would challenge anybody to find a better university than Liberty.
Hey there, friends. Welcome back to Flame Central. If you're on social media, you probably saw that massive fish Hugh Freeze posted about just the other day. Well, that is nothing in comparison to another avid fisherman on LU's campus. Jack Dice isn't a name you know now, but it will be in the not-too-distant future. Meet one of Liberty's young, up-and-coming stars.
Hi, my name is Jack, and I am a fisherman. And welcome to my YouTube channel. This is a channel pretty much devoted to people who love to fish obsessively.
Jack Dice has been consumed with fishing ever since he was a little boy, and it all started on his family's dock at Smith Mountain Lake.
I hooked into this catfish, so it was something that was like 18 inches long, and it actually pulled back. Now, I had no idea what I was doing. The drag was so loose on the reel that it was just spinning and spinning and spinning. Eventually, I just kind of grabbed it, but it actually pulled so hard it cut into my hand a little bit. And that was like, something about that was like this magical, weird, ethereal, just like something in my brain clicked, and I'm like, I want to do this all the time.
And that is exactly what he's done, striving to become the best fisherman humanly possible.
I started, fishing the bank, so I'd fish little ponds, things I could walk around. And I think when I was like 12 or about 12 years old, I think, me and my buddy, I remember saving up all my money. It's like, there was a John boat on Craigslist, a little 12-foot John boat with a J.C. Penney motor. And we saved up, it was $200. It was like the biggest amount of money you could possibly save, and bought this boat. And from then, that was like the first step off the bank. And that's when we started fishing around and getting out and fishing lakes where we weren't actually stuck on the shoreline. We got to actually go out and explore.
As he's grown as a fisherman, his enjoyment for the finer details of the sport have grown as well.
When I first started, it was just actually having the fish was the most important part. And then as the more you fish, the more you're like, well, it's about tricking him into biting. That's the part that's satisfying. There's just something special about when you, even though his brain's only this big, when you trick him into eating something, he knows it's not real, but something about it, you just made him, tripped his trigger and he bit it. And then just feeling that sensation of all of these hours of work, of preparation, the years of reading, got a fish, culminating in finally, it actually success, when you feel that little tick. The line is the only thing connecting you to this world you can't see, and when you get that bite, you don't know what's on the other end, so when you set the hook and it starts to come up, it's the mystery of it and the anticipation of what's gonna happen, and then that magical feeling of the bite, the fight, and the catch is something that I can't fully describe. I just know that every time it's a feeling that I don't get anywhere else.
There's no denying the magic of the sport, but much like golf, it has many crash and burn moments.
Many people have said it before in fishing, but fishing is the most bipolar sport in the world. Like, it's incredible how you can go from the highest highs to the lowest lows and back to the highest highs. You can have a day on the water in a competition scenario where you think you had it all figured out, and you go out there and you go to your first spot and you catch nothing, and you go to your second spot and you break a fish off, you lose one. But it's amazing also, it's about remembering the highs, because it can change like that. In that same day where you lost a big fish and another one broke your line, and you went to 3 more spots and there were guys there, you can have an hour left in the day and be at the lowest low of having no fish in the box, and make one right decision, pull up on a spot and catch a big weight and do well in the tournament. And I've had that happen, and I've had it go the other way.
But more recently, it has gone the right way for Jack. Just this past year, he won the College Series National Championship presented by Bass Pro Shops.
To win a college tournament, these days, college fishing is something that has grown immensely in the last few years. And it used to not even be a viable option. But now, anglers are better now than they've ever been, because we can learn so much online that took years of learning on the water before. So the college series is actually a great place now to hone your skills and actually experience what it's like, because the Bassmaster College Series, you get to travel to these different lakes around the country. They have a series of regional level events. It was a huge confidence booster that I could go out by myself and compete against all these college teams that are better than they've ever been, and hold my own.
While he is living out his dream, having won a national championship and fishing regularly, none of it compares to his favorite part of fishing.
I mean, I have moments where I have to sit back and just stop what I'm doing and appreciate what God's made. And it's probably some of the most spiritual experiences that I've had have been on the water, particularly when you first get out there in the morning and the sun is breaking over the horizon and you have the wind in your face and the fresh air of a new day and just the feeling. It's the place where I feel most alive, and in those moments that I felt just God's hands showing me that I love you enough to show you this.
Really cool story. Great job by you on that, Rhett. Makes you want to get out there on the water.
That's right.
All right, time now for Warm, Hot, and Fuego. I'm getting emotional already just thinking about it. Best player moment from the past week in Liberty Athletics. Now, not a lot going on. This is a little bit of a slow season right now with some of the other sports getting ready to kick off here in about another month.
That's true.
But, Rhett, that doesn't stop you from pulling out some gems here. So let's start off. What do we got today?
Yeah, 3 players this week. We're going to start off warm with Bella Smuda.
Okay.
The sophomore coming into her own this season. You know, she obviously freshman All-ASUN team last year, this season, getting better each and every game. This past game against Lee University, okay, just before we hit conference play, 18 points, 12 rebounds. Now, the big part of this, I heard some rumors going around maybe the league that's saying, hey, she doesn't get fouled enough. She's a big, she doesn't go hard enough to the basket and like create contact. In this game, she went to the stripe 6 times, hit 10 of 12. For big, I thought that was great.
Wow.
Like, good for her, showing the aggressiveness, taking contact, getting to the line. She had a great game.
Take that, haters.
Yeah.
How about that? All right, from warm we go to hot. Who's your choice there?
Yeah, Brody Peebles. This
Another
is like
young
the young
stud.
guns. Yeah. You know, we talked about Brody Peebles. This is a guy coming in. Might take him a little time to get acclimated to the college game, but boy, he's finding his legs. He is. You see that play right there? Absolutely fantastic. He's got a little edge to his game. Like, he's going to let you know when he dogs you. I like that about him. He's been so much fun to watch. He can hit the 3, but what I like here lately is just his ability to drive to the basket, make a move around the net. You saw this in his high school film, and now he's being able to do it at the college level.
Yeah, he is a scary good scorer and just kind of feel like just starting to become how great he will be. Just scratching the surface so far in his career.
Yeah, freshman that I agree with you. Like, just scratching the surface. This guy, as time goes on and he gets more and more acclimated, and I'll say this, not that he's weak, but as he gains muscle, you know Coach Pereira is going to get this guy jacked up. He's going to be a monster in the coming season.
Yeah, that freshman class is going to be really good for a while. All right, finally, in Fuego, Rhett, who's your in Fuego athlete?
All right, in Fuego is Bridget Retstadt, and I'm kind of going to go back a couple of games. It was during the Christmas time. She hit 1,000 points.
Right.
19th player in program history to do so. And Bridget this season, all right, first couple of games, she had a really slow start, and I'm like, okay, what exactly is going on here? Her first game, I was like, ooh, I can see a glimpse of what we hope to see all season long. And then she went cold. But since that point about game 4, she has been lights out, 8 for 8 from the floor against Lee University.
That's incredible. That's hard to do in an empty gym by yourself.
I know,
you know?
For real, right? She can hit the 3, she can Euro step on you and get to the basket. She's got a great mid-range jumper. She's athletic if you play her in that 3 or 4 spot because she has the height to do so, that she can beat you with that first step. She's been a lot of fun to watch this year. Bridget, when you had some offense that moved on from the program, she has stepped up in a big way for this team.
She has. She's been like, oh, great, good, get out of here. Let me shine a little bit. And she has done that, and the entire women's basketball team has this season. All right, when we come back, we take you back to a moment you might remember. A little Liberty Hoops moment from days gone by. Stick around, more Flame Central coming up.
On this mountain stands a legacy. 50 years of miracles, of mountaintop moments. One mission from the start, training champions for Christ. On this mountain, our flames burn brightly. We have a culture of academic excellence, unified in Christ and authentic community. Though we come from different paths and places, the same fire burns in all of us. And 125,000 strong, we cheer each other on around the stadium and around the world. On this mountain, our intensity lights up the night. We coach forward, push onward, honoring Christ in every sphere of our lives. We serve, give, and volunteer, grateful for all that we have been given. For 50 years, Liberty University has stood united in our mission. On this mountain, we train champions for Christ.
Since 1971, Liberty University has had one mission, training champions for Christ. We've been at this for a while, and in the shadow of the Blue Ridge Mountains, we have grown to be a global force, Today, Liberty runs over 100,000 students around the globe, studying across 15 colleges and schools. And among them, over 30,000 military students. Across 700 programs of study, we train as one: nurses, artists, business leaders of the future and today. Together, we work to give back through service trips, local community work, and over 500,000 volunteer hours per year. And we play just as hard as we study, with 20 NCAA athletic programs and 40 club sports teams. So, who are we? We are Liberty University, and we train champions for Christ.
At Liberty University, making an impact for Christ doesn't wait until you graduate. Because here, we get out there and step into our community with our sleeves rolled up. So what does that look like? Every year, our students join together to serve those in need, whether close to home or far away, and share the hope of Christ. At Liberty, you'll find meaningful opportunities to make an impact with your gifts and talents, however God has called you.
Hey, welcome back to the show. For the past number of months, we've been celebrating Liberty University's 50th anniversary with some of the top Flames athletic moments from the past 50 years.
Yeah, and this week's moment comes from the hardwood, a game-saving three-pointer from an unlikely source.
February 9th, 2012. It's whiteout night at Charleston Southern. Men's basketball down by 2 with 1.9 seconds remaining.
Minaya, baseball pass, front court, caught by Burris. One dribble, shot at the buzzer. Good! It's good! It's good! Antoine Burris at the buzzer wins it for Liberty. He gallops around the Bug Dome and a dog pile right in front of the Liberty bench.
Junior Antoine Burris's first three-point attempt of the season swishes through from 30 feet, giving the Flames a huge road victory. It would be the first of 6 straight conference wins to cap off the season.
Not exactly high-definition footage there. All right, hey, we're about out of time. As always, libertyflamescentral.com for any stories you may have missed.
Yeah, check out our podcast as well. We'll be breaking down basketball this coming week. It'll be fun.
Can't wait for it. He's Rhett McGibbon. I'm Matt Warner. Thanks for watching. We'll see you right back here next week.